Hello, everyone. Papa G and Janet, good to see you here. We're back live Monday night with Patriot 5, Patriots 6, and family. It's been a while since we've been on, guys. As you all know, last Wednesday, you guys were having a good time chatting. I was just starting the show. I had did the music. I had done talk to the children. I was starting to talk to the children. And as soon as I did, we were cut off. Well, I never did get 100% proof of why we was, but I'm pretty sure I know what it was. It had to deal with the children. So before I talk to the children today, before I go any further, I'm going to make it my mission right now that when we talk to the children, I want the children to understand this video is not made for you. This video is not made for you to be here to watch unless you have the permission from your parents, grandparents, or legal guardians. The music that we will play tonight, we have no legal rights to. We use it because we've used it for our shows now for several years. It's become part of our shows, and we're not like other shows that we're trying to steal things. We're not like other shows that are trying to make money. We're just here to try to be with the family here, to do some things for everybody, and to make everybody's day a little bit better, a little bit brighter. So with that being said, remember, children, this video is not made for you without permission from someone who can give you the permission. So, with that being said, we now have Jeffrey and it's also far, Papa G and Janet. So, I'm going to go ahead, guys. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say the pledge. I'm going to do the music, and then I will come back and we will start the show. Also, one of the things, there is a part in this show. When I'm creating this show, it asks, is it made for children? Is it not? And I have to mark it, no, it is not. And I think that's what took us down the other night. I'm not sure, but I think it is, because when I appealed it and I told them I made a mistake, if I didn't, it was just a mistake because I always do. But I didn't get a chance. Truthfully, it shouldn't have mattered because we had not talked about children. I said, I'm going to talk about the children. None of the kids had been mentioned yet. If they would have waited and then done it, I'd have understood it. But the whole fact is we're back live. We're back doing what we want to do. We're here as a family, Ian Bell. And who else we got? Bill Woods, good to see you. So let's go ahead and play the music and do the pledge, and we'll get on to the show. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If tomorrow all the things were gone, I'd work for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife. I thank my lucky stars to be living here today, where the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, oh, from sea to shining sea. From Detroit down to Houston, and New York to LA, where there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say, oh, and I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave their
Yes, God bless the USA. Proud to be an
I've had
American.
a lot of titles over the years. Filmmaker, hot dad, garbage picker-upper, but business owner wasn't one that I saw coming. Luckily, my wife worked at LegalZoom, so when we decided to...
So who else we got on here? Ron Anderson's here. John's here. Gary's here. Ian, Janet, Maria, Jeffrey, Bill Woods, Janet. Okay, Tony. So for those who weren't here when I went away to play the pledge, just say the pledge and do the music. It's good to be back. Misunderstanding, nothing was wrong. I've already clarified the mistake I made the other night by saying that, we have no legal rights to the music, and this video is not made for children unless they have the permission. So that being said, we'll move forward and we'll talk to the kids because we haven't talked to them for almost a week tonight. And here, they've changed school so much. And it's not just that they've changed school, it's they've changed. I don't ever, we had a superintendent in our school, but he was a superintendent, a big man. We nicknamed him the Great White Father. But he was a man that if he was walking down the hallway, he would stop and talk to you. He was single, no wife, no children. And when he passed away, he donated his life inheritance to the school. They built a brand new football stadium, named it after him. The reason I'm telling you this is, kids, I'm trying to tell you for what I'm seeing here. Yesterday at my family get-together, we had two principals. Well, we had one principal there that was my nephew, and he was complaining because he got a promotion from being a grade school principal to the high school. And he's complaining. And it was funny because he seemed very happy because he's usually a guy that I rarely speak to. But yesterday, it was like we were best friends. And I says, well, why are you complaining? And my other brother other than Ron, Russ says, well, they're building the new grade school. And he helped put the design together. Now he's not going to be there when it's built for the kids. He's not going to be there when it's there for the kids. And I said, and he's upset. And Janet, you know what they said? He looked at me and says, yeah, he's upset. And I said, well, they didn't take and put something to his head and make him take this job, did they? No. Why did he take it? And I never said no more. I don't have a lot of money, but I reached in my pocket and I pulled out $1. And I said, this is why he took it. It goes, for $1? I said, no, it's the principal. He took it for the money. Well, yeah, wouldn't you? Not if it was going to make me unhappy. I worked in a factory.
I stayed a janitor. You saw.
Pardon me?
I know I had job security.
And I'm going to get to what Ron's saying. If your job makes you happy, Janet and Kevin and Tony, John, why you want to leave it? Why does it always have to be about money? As a principal, you're going to make good money to begin with. There was another person there that used to be principal of a high school. And when she was principal of the high school, she was a fun kid. She was a fun woman that used to love go to White Sox games, that used to love to drink beer and then go tease guys outside the stadium to get them to buy her more beer or go and get us all invited to their end of the game party. She used to love to have fun, love to make bets who's going to be the player of the game. And then she would walk outside and ask guys, who did you think was the player of the game if her player didn't win? And she would flirt and she had fun. And now was as a principal. She had fun with her kids. She always told me stories about her kids, and I seen her yesterday. And the only thing she said to me was, we're going to go home early. I've got a headache, the pressure. She's the assistant superintendent of a school. Why? Oh, because the same principle, money. Can people not see past the end of their nose? Can they not get out of their own way and understand it's not going to be long till money just doesn't matter? And the whole thing is the two people I'm talking about. The one lady who's the assistant superintendent who's making a lot of money, she's not happy what she's doing now. I've never once, since she's been doing this now, it's her second year, never once when I've seen her has she talked to me about the kids at the school. It's always about what's going on, what they can do, not about being there for the kids. Why do you want to be a teacher if you don't want to be involved with the kids and help them a better life? The gentleman yesterday upset because he took a job just for money. His wife is a girl that cleans teeth. 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, she told me she was making $43 an hour, working 3 days at 12 hours. You know, you can make that money up that he went from a high school principal from a grade school principal. You can make that money up if his wife would just work 1 day. Why would you want your husband to be disappointed and upset? The raise that the other girl got. Her husband is in charge of the police in our county. He makes big bucks. He has his master's degree in all of this stuff. He makes huge amount of money. Why? So we can say my house is better than your house. That's going to go away, guys. See, that's what we as Patriots are doing here today. We're here today to show these stupid people that it's not about money. Now, Eileen and Janet and John, would money help us all? Yes. And I think we're going to get some someday.
Don't know when.
We don't know when, as Ron said. But it's not about money. You know what it's about? I tried talking to 3 or 4 people yesterday about the beds. I tried talking to 3 or 4 people about the beds, and they go, they don't work. You know this? How? I mean, you know, me and Ron's only been studying this for almost 20 years, but someone who don't have a clue, well, Big Pharma won't let that go. Big Pharma is shot. They're kaput. If the person in charge, which is supposed to be the military, would ever get the stones or the kahunas to show it to them. Why are these people still going? But let's talk to the kids. Jimmy, how is school going? I know you're homeschooled. Did you get today off? When I was in school, we used to get Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Now you get Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, which I always thought was better, because if you was going to grandma's house out of town, the mom and dad can get up and go to work the next morning. But it's you kids that, man, you get home at 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock at night. You got to hurry up and get everything ready for the next day. Oh, I like the way they're doing things now. So for once, they're actually doing something for the kids. As I'm talking Patriot 11 and Patriot Wyatt Earp and Karate Kid, as I'm talking yesterday to these people, and I says, and I like to put, you know, Tony and Linda, Eileen, Papa G, I like to put little stingers out there. And I looked and I said, you guys are well educated. Yeah. What are you going to do when everything changes? What are you going to do when you find out all the history that you've been teaching is a lie? And they looked at me. And you know what I get? Oh, here Uncle Ralph's been drinking a lot today. He's talking out his rear end. Nope, the only thing I was doing out my rear end was tooting yesterday, kids. And I couldn't even do that. But no, it's what are you going to do? And Ron will contest to I couldn't. What are you going to do when you find out that everything, all these thousands and thousands of dollars you paid Right, Nita? Tony, all of this thousands and thousands of dollars you've paid, Kevin, just to get to where you're at, and you find out, oh, we got to go back to school. That actually someone like Ralph Anderson, someone like Ron Anderson, who doesn't have a sniff of a degree, knows more about what's going on in the United States of America and the world than we do. And one of them's major before he became a principal was history. You know why people take history as their major? Because it's the easiest major you can get. I know. I was married to a history major. When I asked her, why did you take history? She says, because it's easy.
I thought it was the easiest course in school.
As Ron says, neither one of us was great students in school, but history was always something. Tony and Kevin and Bill, don't you like to look back at history and now the fact that it might be not real? But that's okay, because see, if it's not real, then we get to learn the history together. So these snobbish ass, excuse me, potty mouth, these snobbish people, Patriot Princess Our Queen and Patriot Hunter, you see what I'm saying? Bugs, Boogaloo, Boogaroo, and Boogie. These people who think they're so much smarter than us, they're not. Now, I was in the presence yesterday of a very intelligent young girl. And I'll get to that in a few minutes, because I was in the presence of someone that I believe was the smartest person in the room. And she was only 12 years old. And I'll get to that. But you know, Patriot Leona and Patriot Leilon, what we're doing this for, why things are going to change, why people are so adamant about this happening, is for you two. It's for you two, that you never, ever have to go through what we had to go through. You never have to endure what we had to endure. And we think we have it bad. Patriot 17 and Patriot Cutie Pie in the Ukraine, they don't know what it's like to go out in their backyard and play and not have to look over their shoulder. They don't know what it's like to walk to school and not have to look over their shoulder to make sure that they're going to make it there, that they're not going to get picked up by soldiers. Every night when they go to bed, they pray that they don't hear booms, that they don't have to go down into a cellar where they have to sit all night long with no lights, no electricity, and nothing. Cold, deep hole, so they can be protected, so they can continue to live. So I'm telling you, every time you kids here in the United States of America, every time you start thinking, oh, why is it so bad on us? You think about these kids who don't know what it's like, who, when the war is over, they say their number one thing they want to do is one wants to just go walk on a beach, feel the sand in his toes, and the other one, the little girl, all she wants is to eat ice cream. Well, we make sure she gets to eat ice cream. And that's what it's about. It's about taking care of the kids. And that's why I do this segment. That's why I lost the show the other night. But you know what? If I'd have lost the show for saying something about the hat, if I'd have lost the show about saying something about somebody else, it wouldn't have bothered me. But lose it because of the children. Because I'm going to tell you right now, there's no one more protective than children than me and Ron. The plans we have for the children is off the charts. So the girl that I said I was in the presence of yesterday, we had fun because I got talking to my brother Russ. And I got telling him that a couple of years ago, I took each one of my grandkids that was in school individually for a day of their own. They got to pick what we was going to do for the day. She chose to go to a movie with her papa. And then she wanted to go to this place, Candy and Cake. $60 later, we walked out of Candy and Cake. But you know what? I didn't feel bad at all because it was the experience that she wanted. Have you ever been someplace, Tony? Have you ever been someplace, Kevin, or Janet, or John, Jeffrey? Have you ever been someplace where a robot brings you your food, picks it up and sets it on the table for you, and tells you, Have a great day. Enjoy your meal. And turns around and goes back. If you need something else, you yelled to the real waitress. You said, hey, I'd like to have a refill on my pop. And all of a sudden the robot comes out. It was an experience. But when I went to do it this past summer, I didn't have the $70. So I looked at her. I picked her up from gymnastics. And I said, you want to get something to eat? She said, yeah. I said, where do you want to go? She said, candy and cake. I said, no, not today. Where do you want? Oh, she said, someplace. I said, no, not today. I looked at her and I said, do you like Subway? Subway? And that's exactly what I said. Subway? And I said, yeah. I says, you want to go there and eat? She said, yeah. We get into Subway. Now, this is at the time, an 11-year-old little girl. We walk in. I said, what Subway do you want? What 6-inch do you want? She looks at me and she says, 6-inch? Papa, I can only have a 6-inch. I said, well, you want a 12-inch? Yeah. I said, okay. I get her 12-inch sandwich. I get mine and we walk over to the table to sit down. And right behind the table we were sitting, there was a gentleman that I worked with for 30 years. I was great friends with him. We run the activity association together. And I went to talk to him and he's got a disease. So I really hope we can get him on a bed so he makes it. His brother and his dad has both died of this disease. And I tried talking to him. He didn't even know who I was. It broke my heart. I talked to him for 3 or 4 minutes and his wife looked at me and said, I'll keep you informed. I'll call you. I went back to sit down and I looked at my little granddaughter, Patriots super gymnast. And I said, how's that sandwich? And I looked. And if that 12-inch sandwich that they cut in half, she was already on the second part of the 12-inch sandwich. I said, did you drop it? Did something happen? She said, no, I ate it. I started to eat mine, and she ate her second half before I ate my first half. And she said, and I said, can you want anything else? Hey, she weighs like 75 or 80 pounds. I'm thinking, you want something else? Can I have some cookies? Sure, go get some cookies here. We're sitting there and I'm eating. And I just finished my first half of mine and we're sitting there talking. And all of a sudden she says, if I go up there and get a knife, can we cut your second half of your sandwich in half and I can have half of it? I said, really? She says, Papa, I've always wanted to try the steak and cheese. And this is my best chance because I know you're going to give me that. So I did. So I had 3/4 of a 12-inch sandwich and she had 1 1/4. And I said, but you know what, guys, John and Johnny and Ian and Kevin, Jeffrey, I don't mind taking my grandkids to get something to eat if they eat it and don't waste it.
Why didn't you get a whole steak and cheese?
Ron wants to know why she didn't get a whole steak and cheese because she wanted something else. And I wasn't buying her a second one because I think she would have ate it. But yesterday it had become a joke because of Subway. And no matter who it was in the whole place, and we had a lot of people, we had 40 people there probably. No matter who's seen her, if they would say Subway, she would go, Subway. And she'd look over at me and laugh. Patriot 11, he got mad at me today because he wanted to go fishing. I wanted to go fishing with him, but I had to say no because yesterday when me and Ron were getting ready to have our meal, we had ham, we had homemade noodles that Ron won't quit talking about them. He's probably told you guys in here how great they were, and they was the closest thing to my mom's homemade noodles than anybody's ever made. But see, other people try. I just make them like she did with love. But I also have her pan. And I'm telling you, Johnny and Janet and all of you, everyone here, I'm telling you, it's not how you take the eggs and mix it in with the flour. It's not how you swish it all up. It's not how you put more flour, pound it down and cut the. It's not how you do that. It's how you put it in her pan. Because I tell you, anybody who has her pan, and I was the one who got it. I've had people.
I was the one who got it.
Ron is saying he's the one who got it, but it wasn't because what Ron don't remember. I had taken it down to my house before. I made sure that these vultures of my family were not getting my mom's pan. My mom, who made the greatest homemade noodles.
Why wouldn't let him take that out?
She made the greatest homemade noodles in the world. But one time she started to notice on holidays I wasn't eating them. And she says, "Don't you like my noodles?" I said, "I love your noodles. I'm just not crazy about turkey homemade noodles made with turkey broth or chicken broth. I like beef broth. I like beef noodles." Ever since that happened, when my mom made noodles, no matter what holiday, she would always make beef noodles. And people would get mad at her and say, "Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that?" And she says, "Because that's my baby boy, and I'm going to take care of him." Yeah, that's 48 years old the day my mom died, kids. 48 years old. She was talking to a cousin of hers on the phone, and the cousin said,
Okay.
"Leona."
This done.
Huh?
This podcast is done.
Why?
Talk to an hour on the kids.
The lady says, "Why? What are you doing?" And she says, "I'm talking to my baby boy and having lunch with my oldest son, Ron." I was still her baby boy at 48 years old. And it means so much to me, kids. So when your mom and dad, Patriot Small Hank, when your mom and dad, Patriot Small Gymnast or Patriot Little Kira, when they look at you and they tell you something special and they have a special name for you, cherish it because you'll remember it your whole life. My mom gave me a shirt, and I'm going to pop done with the kids, guys. My mom gave me a shirt when I was very young. I looked at that shirt and I said, "That is the ugliest shirt I've ever seen in my life." 30 some years later, I still wear this shirt. And the day that I'm buried, if I ever die, the day that I'm buried, it will be my undershirt. I will wear that for eternity because my mom gave it to me. It's the last shirt she ever gave me. So kids, just remember, be respectful, love your parents because they may do something for you. They may do something and you may not understand it. But most of the parents are doing it because they really love you. And that's why we want to get every child. I'm working with Julia and other people, and we're lining up orphanages that we want to get every child in this world. We're going to build it. And these kids are going to come and we're going to get them parents. We're going to replace parents for parents, their children that they lost in these terrible, terrible wars. That concludes tonight's version of the children. Remember, children, this is not meant for you. You can watch it under the discretion of your parents, grandparents, or legal guardians. Plus, the music played tonight is nothing. We have no legal rights to it. We play it because it's our song. Now, where are we at? Now that we're done with the kids, where are we at? And I did get a little overboard on the children, but I haven't talked to them for 2 days. It's been a week. It's been a week. We didn't have but one show last week. And I wanted to show them that they're still a big part. Where are we at? I really don't know. I've been watching videos from the Hat, DJT, whatever you want to call him. I've been watching videos, and I keep seeing this. Janet, Jeffrey, Papa G, are you seeing these videos where this man's coming on and saying, on the 2nd of April, the United States of America is going to see a wealth come to each individual. Did you see it? And the second came and the second left. And there was no wealth. But he's proud of himself because gas is $1.80, 89 cents a gallon around the whole United States average-wise. That is the biggest bunch of bull manure in the world. In Illinois, it's over $4. In California, it's over $5. There are some states that the fuel for the semi-trucks is over $8 a gallon. Is it any wonder we can't afford to go to the store? I talk to Marianne every Tuesday and Thursday night, and she gives me an update of what the prices are where she lives. She lives within a close distance to D.C. She lives very, very close, but she's telling me, she says, you can't afford to go in and get the ham. You can't afford. And guys, It's terrible. And we knew it was coming. But tell me this. Where are we any better off than we was when Dopey was running this country? Thank goodness, Sleepy. Thank goodness Dopey didn't get in there. But lies. Because you know what his fame to success is so far? His fame to success is he got the people to not have to pay taxes on their tips. Wow. Papa G, did that help you any? It didn't help me any. But now what they're doing is every place you go, you can go to a fast food restaurant. You can walk up, you can stand in line. You can tell the people what you want. And when you pay and you get your food, they'll look at you and say, hey, don't forget to tip the people who waited on you. Why? So they could just turn their back to you, look at the people back cooking the food and saying, hey, I need 2 hot dogs, a fry, and a cup for a beverage. That's what we need to pay. And then if you don't pay at least 20 to 25%, are you kidding me? I'm going to tell you a quick story about something at one of these fast food restaurants. I went to the drive-in. I had a doctor's appointment a while back. And after I didn't eat before I went because I thought he might do some tests. I was hungry on my way home and I decided I was hungry for a Chicago-style hot dog. And this place has them where you can get 2 and a French fry. Before CO blank ID, before that, you could get that meal for $4.99. Now it's almost double. But I was willing to pay it because I was hungry for that particular thing. And I went to the drive-in and I ordered. I pulled around and she told me how much. And I said, hey, can I get a senior's pop? This particular place used to have senior pops for 69 cents. All you could drink for seniors. And they said, we can't sell senior pops at the window. I said, why? Because you would take it and you'd get it for a cheaper price. And what does it benefit us? I said, you get the money for it. The cup's going to cost you about 3 cents. The lid's going to cost you maybe a penny. And I said, the straw, maybe a penny. So for a nickel, you're going to make 69 cents. And that's a pretty good profit margin. Well, we can't sell it to you. I said, well, what about veterans? What do you do for veterans? They said, we don't do nothing for veterans. I said, well, I'll tell you what. Take your meal that I just ordered and stick it where the sun don't shine because I'm out of here. And I drove off. I'm not going back to that place. I will not comply to people. They do not comply to veterans. And guys, I'm not a veteran. And when I told this story yesterday at our get together for Easter, my brother Russ, who is a veteran, says, oh, and when was he a veteran? And I never said nothing. And he goes, do you hear what I'm saying? He looked at his grandson and he said, when was he a veteran? And his grandson looked and said, Grampy, he never said he was a veteran. He said, what do you do for veterans? Now, if they'd have had something for veterans and give me a deal, I'd have took it. You know why? Because they screw us all the time, everyone. So why can't we help out and do the same? But I'm not going to go in there and tell them I'm a veteran. But for a company run by people that wasn't even born in this country, and they won't stick up for the people who protected this country so they could live here free and make our money so they can double the prices. As far as I'm concerned, the hat needs to get them the hell out of here. That's my opinion. And I'm sticking to it. And I am Superman tonight without a cape. And there's a joke there. There's a joke there because when I write Julia, she calls me her Superman, so I call her my Wonder Woman. But we have to say without a cape because capes are just something for sissies. So anyway, I want to talk about today. I want to talk about today and our great president. We're supposed to get 800 numbers, right? Expert 1871 and Jeffrey and Ian. We're supposed to get 800 numbers if you have foreign currency. I'm ready. But remember, when you get it, if you have Zim, you have to sign an NDA. Why? Why do we have to sign an NDA if it's our money? Because they want to protect us. I said, oh, okay. And then today the man gets on and I said, well, why is everything such a secret? Well, we got to keep it a secret because we don't want the people knowing. A good soldier never tells his game plan when he's preparing to go into battle. You have to tell him something different. So does that mean that instead of this man standing in front of the world today, believe me, there was millions of people watching today. Does that mean when these millions of people are standing in front, he's standing in front of all these people and he says he's giving this country until tomorrow night, I believe he said 8 or 8:30, or there will be consequences. 8 o'clock Eastern, Ron said. I didn't get to see it. I couldn't find it. I was at home. But 8 o'clock Eastern tomorrow night, or there's going to be consequences. Why would a man who's smarter than 10 people, 10 moves ahead of 10 people, why would he come out and give his game plan? It doesn't make any sense. The fact I'm talking like this, guys, I still love the man. I believe he's the man to get the job done. But I don't know about you, Bill Woods. Are you expert? Are you Jeffrey? Are you Ian? But right now I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. Does anybody else feel that like that, Tony and Janet? John, I know you feel like that, John. What happened to drill, baby, drill? Well, I thought we were, John. What happened to the 500 million barrels of oil? That we wouldn't have to worry about anything in gas prices for 50 years. And then we never have to worry because we are sitting on the richest parts of oil any place in the world. What happened to that? What happened to the man that said, I'm going to make America great again? And he's got us in worse shape than we did when we had Dopey or Sleepy or both. Yeah. I mean, but he's the man that God chose to get it done, so we have to keep going. Jeffrey says he's sick and tired too. I'm tired of being that way. Here's something on the special beds. Why does a broken bone heal in 6 weeks, but a cut on your liver heals in 6 days? Why can a salamander regrow an entire limb, but you cannot regrow a fingertip? Why does a child's wound heal 3 times faster than an adult's? Why does a paper cut on your tongue heal in 24 hours, but the same cut on your hand takes a week? My question to that is, why would anybody have paper to cut their tongue? Just a thought. The answer to all 4 questions is the same: electrical voltage. Dr. Robert O. Becker, twice nominated for a Nobel Prize, spent 30 years measuring the electrical properties of healing. His findings were published in The Body Electric, one of the most cited and least discussed books in modern medicine. He proved that every wound site generates measurable electrical current. The stronger the current, the faster the healing. Children generate stronger bioelectric currents than adults. The liver generates the strongest current of any organ. The salamander generates a current at an amputation site that no mammal can match until Becker artificially simulated it. He applied a microcurrent of specific frequencies to a frog's amputated leg. Frogs do not regenerate limbs. This one did it. Grew back, bone, muscle, nerve, and skin. Documented, published 1972. But Becker then proved the same electrical stimulation could accelerate bone healing in humans by 300%. Orthopedic surgeons quietly adopted his method. Today, electrical bone stimulators are FDA approved and used in hospitals worldwide. But they will never tell you where the science came from or what else it can do. Your body heals with electricity, not chemistry. Every pharmaceutical drug is a chemical attempt to mimic what the right frequency does naturally. The question was never whether your body can heal itself. The question is why they made sure you forgot how. And then it ends with, oh my God, I never expected that today. Wow. Just think about it. Why is there thousands of beds laying unoccupied? Why is there children who still not found parents? Why are we not making America and the world great again? Why are the wars still going on? Why are the people who went into hiding, if all the bad people are gone, why are they still hiding? I don't know if you heard the story about the vat where they found another secret compartment. Yes. Mimics. What do you call them when a person is supposed to be some? What do they call? I'm going to call them replicators of people. Everywhere, Kuzmo. Everywhere. Children crying, wanting to go home to mommy and daddy. What these people have done, as Kuzmo says, it's a damn shame. It's a damn shame what these people have done to these children. Why can a parent or an adult, when you try to talk to them, why can they just pass it on like it doesn't matter? It does matter. Every child's life matters. When my children were growing up, my daughter was almost 16 years old before I let her go to the bathroom by herself. Fortunately, my mom was always there when we went out, and my mom went in. But my mom wasn't with us one day, and my daughter had to go to the bathroom. We was at a Burger King. I take that back. My mom was there. She was there, and she just didn't feel like getting up. She was getting up in age, and she just didn't feel like going. I said, okay, I'll take you. And my daughter said, Dad, I'm almost 16. I said, I'll take you. We walked over to the women's bathroom, and I opened the door. I didn't go in. I yelled in there, and I said, is anybody in here? Can you help me? Is anybody in here? And two ladies said, there's two of us in here, sir. Why? This is the ladies' room. I said, I know, but I'm sending my 15-year-old daughter in. If she's not back out here in 3 minutes, all HE double toothpicks is going to be hitting the fan, because I will not care if it's a woman's bathroom or a man's. I will be in there. My daughter was embarrassed. She went in and she did what she needed to do. She came out and she walked out with these two ladies. And these two ladies gave me a hug and said, thank you. Thank you for caring about your daughter so much and making sure she was safe. Wouldn't we live in a better world, Virginia? Wouldn't we live in a better world, Kevin and Jeffrey, if everybody made sure their kids were safe? A couple days ago, my grandson, Patriots, 7, he wanted to go fishing at the little pond in their town. It's about 5 or 6 blocks from their house. They give him the house cell phone and said, go. He was gone for about a half an hour, and my daughter tried to call him. He didn't answer the phone. She waited about 10 minutes, and she called again. He didn't answer the phone. If that would have been me, I'd have been over at that pond. And if he was fishing and he wouldn't answer the phone, he'd have been home. But my daughter gave him some leeway. Finally, he He noticed about an hour after she made her first call. He noticed that she had called, and he called and said, Mom, what's up? And she says, what are you doing? He says, I'm fishing. But two of his friends come down there. She says, I don't care. I trusted you with the phone. I trusted you to go over there. How did I know you weren't in trouble? My question was, why didn't she get in the car and go check? But I never said nothing. Because I'm only the grandpa here, the papa. But the thing is, kids, if you want to be held, if you want responsibilities, you have to accept responsibilities the way they should be. It takes a matter of boom like that, and we can never see you again. And I'm not saying this to scare people, but I'm telling you, when they come out with these movies during this 10 days of darkness, and I hope that they don't prove everything. I just hope that they show some of them how these kids were abducted. What kind of a parent would look and say, hey, we'll sell you my kid, and then take a few $1,000s because they needed it? We should never be in a situation, Mr. DJT, that we have to sell a child so we can pay a bill. Why do we have bills? Why are we not in where we're supposed to be? I'm sick and tired of being promised. Now it's going to be sometime this month, according to Bruce, that we're going to get this money. But when that day comes, it'll come and go, and nothing is said. Gee, if it was only an election year, we get promises at least. Because right now, all we get is, well, I was going to do this, and everybody was going to get this abundance of money, $2,000 a piece for 3 years if you're 18 and above, which really kind of ticks me off. Because most of us here are senior citizens. And what does an 18-year-old that's still in high school deserve $2,000 when he's never did nothing but have everything given to him in his life? What incentive is he going to have? Well, I don't need to go to college now. I got $2,000 a month for the next 3 years. Now they're saying you don't get it unless you got a job or you're going to college. But why should we take some of the money that could have come to senior citizens and people who deserve it? Veterans and that. There's so much money. DJT says there's so much money. He says this all the time. We have such an abundance of money. Then why don't we do it this way? Why don't we give the seniors? Why don't we give them $5,000? Go down to the next thing and give them $4,000. Go down to the next one and give them $3,000. And then the 18-year-olds up until about 25, 26, why don't we give them the $2,000 then? But why should they get what we get? There's so many people out there, they could care less about anything. But I happen to mention, hey, everybody's supposed to get $2,000 yesterday at the get-together. And when they heard that, they said, well, I really hope that's true. Does everybody get it? And I said, what do you mean? Well, two of my kids are 18 and above. They'll get it. Well, me and my husband are 18 and above. Then you'll get it. They go, we're going to get $8,000 for a family? What is your incentive? A married couple that gets $4,000. And you know what? They won't do nothing to help anybody. Why can't they say, okay, we'll give you this, but you got to help somebody else? It's ridiculous the way this country is being run, but that's okay. Now, I'm going to give you my honest opinion before we go any further. What he talked about today, and what he's going to do tomorrow night at 8 p.m., it's just a ruse. It's just a show. My honest opinion is when he's talking about this country, if they don't do this and this and this, if they have to do this and this and this, answer me this question. Why would he have come out and said, we captured their leader? We not only captured their leaders, but we captured his top 10 or 20 leaders. They wanted to bring a new leader in to this country, and we got rid of them. They wanted to bring a new leader in, and he says this like 6 or 7 times, that every leader they brought in, they captured him and took care of them. It's to the point now he says nobody wants to be a leader. And then you show videos of this country. And because these leaders have been captured and taken away, the people are dancing in the street. like the song, Dancing in the Street. They're happy. They can't wait. When they interview someone, they're saying, who's the president of your country? And they say DJT, the same way as they say it in Venezuela. But now all of a sudden, when this man, our president, comes out and says, it's over. Now all of a sudden today, he's saying they've got until tomorrow night. Dr. Charlie Ward come out with a statement the other day, a video. And in the video, he's talking, how he talks. What a role model, guys. He made his money. He made millions of dollars protecting the gold that was stolen by the cabal. Only now to make millions of dollars from us protecting the gold that we're taking back from the cabal. Now, they said we can't double dip. Why was he able to? I can't listen to the man anymore. But he said it's going to get bad. Why? You told me since the first day I ever watched you, Mr. Ward, you told us. You told us that this is a movie. He tells me in this video the other night, well, not me, but I watched it. He tells me it's going to be like World War III. Virginia and Janet and Ian, Papa G, go back when he was a kid. I go back to when I was 10 years old, 1964. I can remember this day like it was yesterday. My dad was working in our garden, and my brother Ron and my brother Russ was uptown hanging out on a street corner drinking their Pepsi with their little bag of Planters peanuts put in the Pepsis. They was hanging out because that's what the fun was back then when you was a teenager, to hang out with your friends. My mom was gone. My sister was gone. And I'm sitting there. And on my radio, my transistor radio on WLS, the news broadcast on and said, we're close to World War III. And we'll never survive World War III because if we have it with this way that they was going to do it, the whole world would have been blown up. And I'm thinking I'm 10 years old and I'm not going to see 11. And I can remember looking at my dad and crying. This can't happen. But we were so close. The tension, you could have cut the tension with a fork. It was terrible. Do you remember these days, guys? I remember them. But I was young. And now we get to an age that, okay, if we go into World War III, it's going to be all fought on the internet. So what does it matter? But Dr. Charlie Ward's looking and saying, oh, people, you have to stay in the house. You have to. All they want us to do is to stay in a house. Why, Charlie? Do you got some more gold you want to take out someplace? Tariffs. Wow, tariffs. They're bringing us so much money. The money that DJT and the rich guy, Elon, went and got. What has happened to all this? Is at some point they're going to say enough is enough and take care of the people of the United States of America? Are they going to let the naysayers, the people that could care less about their country because they're making money, are they going to let them keep ruling it? How many people do we have to take out before we're going to be where we want to be? Charlie is a movie star. No, he's a dork. Okay, Tony. I got to read this. Tony says, I think everything is done, but we are watching the movie and we are in it. Yes, I believe it's done too. I tell Julia every letter I write her that I believe, and I do, guys, I believe this from the bottom of my heart, the top of my heart, and my whole heart, that the war over there is done. I'm also talking with a young lady in Russia because I want her to help us because she's well known. And I want her to help us when we go over there for the orphanages because she attends them a lot just to give the kids the smile on her face and just maybe, she's a skater. And when she skates and the people they throw, she was in an event here a while back and they literally threw almost 300 stuffed toys on the ice. 300 stuffed toys. Her and her partner picked them up. The other people come up and picked them up and they boxed them up. And her and some people took them to the orphanage and give all of these children the gifts. I tell these two people with all my heart, I believe the wars are over. I do. I believe the wars in these two countries are over. It's we have to get rid of a couple bad people, and then we're going to announce it. 209 countries have signed an agreement that we will go into something very special, something amazing that will change the world. XRP, XLM will explode. I watched an article the other day and they said XRP has to explode or we're going back to the same system of transferring money all over the world. Every country in the world, their currency is going to be $1 to $1. Everybody in the world is going to get money that they've been cheated out of for all these years. Everyone is going to get this. When we cross the finish line. How long are we going to have to say, Kevin, Dean Hunt, John, Ian, how long are we going to have to say we're this close to the finish line? And I believe what they just said. It's a movie. We have to let it play out. But how many people are going to die that could have been saved? I know I've lost my brother-in-law. I lost a cousin that was she wasn't really a cousin to me because every time she's seen me and I would say something to her, she says, I'm more your sister. I changed more of your diapers back when I was younger than anybody. And she would always tease me and it never bothered me. I have another cousin that's very, very bad. He needs these things. I've talked to people in wheelchairs and I give them a ray of hope that they're going to get in there and they're not going to be in a wheelchair. I just did it the other day with a gentleman. He's been in a wheelchair for 40 years. And I said, God willing, by 4th of July, you'll be walking. You'll be doing the things you used to do when you was young. He said, my legs couldn't handle it. I said, it's all going to be taken care of. He says, it's a dream. I took my phone and I Googled and I brought up some articles. And I said, here, while I'm doing the rest of this stuff here, because I got something over here to do, hold my phone, sit here. I'll be right back. It'll take you about 5 minutes. Pardon? I says, I'll be back in about 5 minutes. Watch this video. When I come back, this man was sitting there with tears in his eyes. And he's looked at me and he says, sir, I don't even know your name. You trusted me with your phone and left. I said, yes. He says, and then you left me watching a video that gives me hope that I will walk again. I went to a cash bash a while back and I did the same thing. Every time I go to the bank now, the man that I did it to before, the lady that I go to the bank in the drive-in, it was her brother-in-law that I give hope. Guys, Papa G, Gary, Kevin, Janet, whenever you're out, talk to anybody. If you see someone in a wheelchair, talk to them. Let them know. Because when I let this person know at this cash bash that night, his wife looked at me as a sister-in-law, the lady that works at the bank looked and said, Ralph, don't give hope that you can't control. And his sister, her sister, the lady, the man's wife looked and said, are these things called, you know what they're called? Medical and then with a bed. You know what I'm talking about? And I said, yes, they are. She said, I've been researching them. Are they real? And I said, everything I'm hearing, they're real. I said, I've even talked to a nurse that has actually been trained on them. She's seen them. They're hiding in plain sight all over every hospital in the United States of America. Why can't they be real? Judy Bidington's latest report summary, April 6, 2026. Provides updates of global currency resets, quantum financial systems, QFS. A black swan financial event is currently underway, collapsing the petrodollar and triggering a chain reaction that will see 63 major U.S. banks and tens of thousands of small banks across the world close their doors. This catastrophic event is harbinger of the old system demise, making way for the new gold-backed QFS, the QFS which has fully ignited 209 nations and set of revolutionize the global financial framework, rendering the legacy fiat-based SWIFT system obsolete. As the world teeters on the brink of a global lockdown, individuals are advised to be prepared by stocking up on food and cash. A 10 to 12 day communication darkness is expected, during which banks and ATMs will be closed. Although your accounts have been mirrored on the QFS, they won't be accessible until after the lockdown. It's essential to withdraw your money and take necessary precautions to ensure your financial security. On April 1, 2026, the global currency reset of Big N, Big G laws were activated across 209 nations, erasing debt, ending the IRS, and launching prosperity funds. This marked a significant milestone in the transition of the new financial system, where the hatched sovereign U.S. Treasury note has replaced the collapsed Federal Reserve dollar. The cabal's financial empire is crumbling as the gold-backed QFS goes live, and the era of income tax is coming to an end, replaced by tariffs and fair sale taxes. Military sources have indicated on April 6 and 7, 2026 are possible notification dates for Tier 4B individuals to set their exchange appointments. Those holding ZIM currency are expected to receive their special beds appointments starting from April 9, 2026. Wells Fargo, controlled by the Chinese elders, is expected to send out emails to currency and bond holders worldwide, guiding them on how to set redemption and exchange appointments. It is advised to exchange or redeem foreign currencies at an official redemption center, RC, rather than banks, as RCs offer better exchange rates and are the only places where ZIM can be redeemed. Additionally, individuals can only set up their new wallets, bank accounts at RC's redemption centers. As the old system collapses, most banks, which were under the control of the cabal, will soon play a different role in the global financial system. As the world navigates this significant transition, Judy Biden's report concludes with a reassuring measure: trust the plan, with the QFS blockchain recording every stolen cent and returning it to the people. The hatch genius has cornered the globalists with no escape. As we embark on the new financial era, it's essential to stay informed, be prepared for all the changes that are unfolding. That pretty much summarizes everything, guys. I'm going to end with a prayer, and then we're going to say goodnight. I'm glad we was able to get back there. You guys look like you had some fun chatting tonight. We'll be back Wednesday night. It's the same time, 7 p.m. Dear Lord, thank you for allow us to do this show tonight. It may not have been my best show. It may not have been my worst, but it was a show that came from my heart. A show that I had to say the things I had to say so I can help the people understand more what's going on. Lord, look after all of us. Keep us all safe in these trying times. But please, Lord, let us find this finish line so the people who are in need, the people who have to have help, they can all get help. It doesn't matter how much money, Lord, we're allowed. If we don't have our health, it doesn't matter. So please, Lord, look after us, and these special things, these special beds, please allow them to be released so we can all live a long, long life. Lord, as you know, the other day I talked to a dear friend of mine, and when I was talking to him about this, he said to me, I've always thought that was true. What do you know about it? Lord, you know, I showed him, and he was so happy. There's so many people out there that believe in you, Lord, and believe in our new world, so it's time that maybe we can get this done. As I come to you, talk to you, and pray to you through my Savior, your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen and amen. Good night, everyone. God bless you, and we love you all.